for it. Folks, our final story for the day. I'm really excited for it because Trump is lifting tariffs on imported beef. You know, I'm excited because this is obviously it's going to tank the beef industry at home. And this is a good thing. Do you know why? Because in the 1970s, we had something very similar to this. We had the dairy crisis. Following the 1973 oil crisis, the soaring inflation, dairy prices, they skyrocketed by like 30, 40, 50-something%. It got ridiculous. So the government, to protect the consumers, the federal government lowered dairy import quotas to flood the market and drive down prices. And then in the 1974 crash, the policy worked a little too well. By 1974, milk prices plummeted so low that American dairy farmers faced immediate financial ruin. So, to save the farmers and to basically fix their fuck up, the government utilized the Commodity Credit Corporation, the CCC, to trigger mandatory buyouts of unsold dairy. So, you know, if you're familiar with the government cheese, you know, that a lot of people were all about, what they're going to do is unfortunately, they're going to put the entire steak industry, you know, on the ropes. They're going to have the beef industry people, you know, really throwing in the towel. They're going to be like, fuck, you know, we're really not earning our money back because, you know, Mexican beef that's given people, you know, mad cow disease is so much cheaper to import in. It's going to be the episode of Community when they eat the taco meat and become zombies. That's what it's going to be because of this bill. It's going to be low quality meat that's coming in from like China and shit like that. Half of it is horse, unfortunately. And it's facing a lot of pushback, including from within his own party. He announced a temporary rollback on tariffs for imported beef. Under a new executive plan, the administration will allow up to 300,000 metric tons of foreign beef into the United States duty-free over the next 90 days. White House officials say that the emergency measure is aimed at directly at providing quick relief to American families struggling with record-high grocery bills and soaring meat prices, instead of helping the meat markets at home. He wants the meat markets abroad to thrive, but then here's the thing. Once all of the meat markets and all of the individuals that are dealing it in the United States are forced to sell out to Uncle Sam, we will see the grand return of Trump steaks. Folks, I had this theory. I was on the phone with my mother the other day, and she like brought up something. She was like, yeah, you see this tariff thing that he's doing with the beef? And then something clicked in my head that moment. I was like, this is all a grand plan so that he can relaunch Trump steaks. Trump steaks will be very similar to like the Trump healthcare bullshit that he tried to launch. It'll be very similar to a lot of the other Trump programs, and it will carry his name. It will be Trump Steaks for America. Beef for freedom, ladies and gentlemen. This is right after, by the way, U.S. cattle inventories have plummeted to 75-year lows following severe multi-year droughts and rising operational costs. The administration argues that bringing in discounted foreign beef will help bridge the supply gap while domestic herds recover. Agricultural groups and cattle associations are warning that the influx of subsidized imports will actually undercut American ranchers. So, the decision is also triggering a rare public criticism from the Republican lawmakers representing key agricultural states. GOP senators and representatives from states like Wyoming, Nebraska, and Montana are arguing that flooding the domestic market with cheaper foreign meat puts local producers at a distinct disadvantage just as they work to rebuild their operations. So, despite the pushback, the White House is maintaining that lowering everyday food costs for the consumers is remaining the top priority. So fuck all you farmers.
This is a controversial move, but despite all of that outrage from Republicans and ranchers across the country, the president is moving forward with this, suspending tariffs on ground beef imports for about 90 days until after the midterm elections. This is all in an effort to lower prices for the American family. But of course, this set off a firestorm of criticism, especially in the Republican Party. So Senator John Barrasso, the number 2 Republican in the Senate, said Americans want U.S. beef on the table, not foreign imports.
Agreed.
Of Arkansas called this action ill-advised. Others in very competitive Senate races, like Congresswoman Ashley Henson, say that this is just a flat-out bad idea. Now, notably, the administration is not saying where this beef is coming from. The president did not identify any countries in his...
It's coming from Kushner Industries, packaged in Albania. I'm sorry to say it, this will be child labor packaged ground beef. And people will be like, they're going to look at the labels, they're going to be like, fucking 10% lean, 90% fat? What the fuck is this?
Proclamation, and notably the agriculture secretary, whose job it is to oversee farming and food safety, said that she wasn't privy to that information when.
And Rachel,
Trump wants your steaks to cost about as much as a chapstick. He wants it to be like $1.26 per pound beef.
with the midterms just over 2 months away, a judge has lifted a block on President Trump's executive order on mail-in voting.
Yes, and what this is far from over, but at least for now, a federal judge has cleared the way for the Trump administration to move forward with this restricted mail-in voting executive order that would require a national registry to have that with eligible voters, and then it would bar the U.S. Postal Service from then delivering mail-in ballots to anyone who is not on that list, but more legal challenges are certainly expected with.
Not an awful idea.
Rachel, thank you.
You know, it's an idea. It's not an awful idea. It's just an idea. He seems to have a lot of ideas. You know, they range in awful from terrible. You know, awful to terrible to, you know, sometimes decent, sometimes halfway decent, whatever. You know, I'm going to be real with you, and I'm going to be real with you if you have mouths to feed, if you have a spouse, if you have kids or whatever. You'd be better off eating crayons the next few months. The next 90 days, I'm sorry, the beef quality is going to be in the shitter. And you, by the way, it's all going to be worth it when we see the grand return of Trump steaks, only available at the Shopper Image, ladies and gentlemen. The Shopper Image is the only place you can buy them. All right, I'm calling it good, right? This has been a good Thursday. I think I feel good about it. I'm going to go and eat this Italian 5-cheese macaroni. It is special select from Aldi's. I know, Aldi's. It's mid-tier, and I'm not the biggest fan of it, but it's cheap, and I live in an area where it's like, it's the best that I have. I don't know a person who owns cattle right now, unfortunately, and I don't know anybody who's harvesting a massive, what are they called? What do you call a pack of swine? I will call it that. I don't know anybody who's able to sell me bacon anytime soon that is fresh off the bone. So folks, don't judge me. We're all trying to do our best. Eat healthy and avoid fast food. If I catch you, by the way, I've been off of fast food for the longest time. I haven't gone to McDonald's ever since I promised you that I wouldn't, and I hope that you are maintaining the same. Listen, I'm not telling you how you need to live your life. I'm not telling you anything like that, but you already know that it's bad for you. And I hope that you're taking care of yourself, and I hope that you're doing well. And you know what? I don't care that I'm ending this Thursday with a little bit of a rant, a little bit of a scold, because you know what I mean? It's a Thursday. It's not a Friday. We don't have to end it on perfect vibes. Thursday is also like, hey, you know what I mean? You're still an adult. You got to remember to take good goddamn care of yourself. Do you know why? Because, Thursday is a day for tough truths. Thursday is a day for reminding you that if you reach for that extra cookie, unfortunately, it might rub an extra 12 days off the end of your life. And those are 12 days that you could be spending with your children. Those are 12 days that you could be spending, enjoying yourself, enjoying life. There's so much to enjoy, folks. So I guess we are ending it on a bit of a joyous note. If you've